Have you ever gotten in trouble because your parents asked you to do something, but you didn't feel like doing it, so you didn't do it? Stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back to the Wisdom Room. I am Maya, if you do not know, and this channel was created to help you become healthy and whole in Jesus Christ, spiritually, mentally, physically, emotionally, financially, and relationally. So if that's something that you are interested in, please continue coming back and even considering subscribing to the channel and becoming a part of the family. Our topic, our focus is our spiritual health. I currently live with my cousin and we're in quarantine, and I am homeschooling my little cousin, her daughter. You guys, I've realized that I have so much respect for teachers just in this time as I've been teaching her and helping her learn different things. I've realized I've had to redirect her, ask her, hey, make sure you're following instructions. Let's use our listening ears. I'm using all of these tools to hey, come around, and then sometimes having to put her in timeout for 5 minutes so that we can refocus. As I was doing this, God gave me this moment where I realized I literally have been doing this to God. God has been asking me to do stuff. He's given me 4 different things that he's asked me to do, and I've been half doing them. This subject kind of came out of that, of doing things even when you don't feel like it. Because oftentimes I'll tell her that, hey, we have to do this assignment, and she's like, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like doing it. And isn't it funny how God asks us to do stuff and we say, God, I don't want to do it. I don't feel like it. We act like a 5-year-old. I didn't tell you guys. She's in kindergarten. We end up acting like a 5-year-old when God is asking us to do stuff. He's asking us to do simple things. And his simple instruction is to be obedient. Jesus gives us an example of when he was in the Garden of Gethsemane on how to react to when God is asking us to do something and we don't necessarily feel like doing or we don't really want to do it, how to react. And he went into the garden and he talked to God, the Father, and he was like, please, if you can, take this away from me. I don't want to, do this. But at the end of that, he said, but allow your will to be done. And I think that's how we should react in those situations. Even when we don't feel like doing it, we say, God, allow your will to be done. Jesus understood the magnitude of what it would mean for us by him going to the cross and dying for our sins. And I think it means more to us because we get to sit in grace. We get to be covered by the blood, that when we go before God, we don't have to worry about all of the sin that we sit in, because even when we are a born again believer, we still have a sinful nature, but we don't have to worry about that when we come before God because we've been covered by Jesus. But I think he gives us an excellent example when he's in the Garden of Gethsemane saying, hey, God, let your will be done. And even though it was tough, how we would benefit superseded that. Even when you don't feel like doing something, do it. Because there is such a greater reward that God has for you on the other end of whatever he's asking you to do. I want to challenge you to walk in obedience this week. I'm personally doing it this week. And I'll make a second video because I think one of the biggest things is that we can start in obedience, but being consistent in obedience is a totally different thing. So I'll make a different video, but I am starting this week on walking in obedience, full obedience. I want you to do the same. Mark 12:30 and 31 give us very good instructions on what to do. These can be the instructions that you follow. And this is something that every Christian should do. Jesus gave us 2 things. He said in Mark 12:30 and 31, and I'll put it below the screen. It says, and you must love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength. The second is equally important. love your neighbor as yourself. And I think those are two instructions that we can easily follow, that we can easily be obedient to, that God is asking us to do. So when he says, love the Lord your God with all your heart, all your soul, all your mind, and all your strength, I think that's about building a relationship with God, about making sure that you're going forth and having that relationship. And to build that relationship, you can level up on your devotion time and lengthen it. Giving a little bit more time to maybe sit and meditate on the scriptures, think about it, do more than one devotional plan. You can also start reading different books of the Bible, but making sure that you give a certain amount of time. So let's just say this whole week you do 20 minutes of that. And then the second commandment, he says, what's equally important is to love your neighbor as yourself. And I think this one might be a little bit more tough for people because it requires you to get out of yourself and show love towards other people. But this week I am challenging you to walk in obedience for the instructions that God has given us. And that could be as simple as waking up every morning and praying for people that you know, and praying for one person each day of the week. 7 days, pick 7 people. You could also take coffee to a coworker. We're in quarantine, maybe not. Make breakfast for your family every day this week. It's getting out of yourself and walking in obedience to love your neighbor as you love yourself. God doesn't ask us for much. He simply asks us for obedience. And that's just saying, God, I want your will to be done. So we allow him to guide our minds and guide our hearts to the things that he asks us to do. And one of my good friends told me that half obedience is disobedience. So again, I challenge you this week to walk in obedience. My question of the day is, how are you going to walk in obedience this week? It doesn't have to be something I said. It can be something totally different. But I would love to hear from you. Put it down in the comments. How are you going to walk in obedience this week? I love you guys, and I'll talk to you guys soon.
So much for coming to watch. If you want to get notifications for the videos, remember to click down there on the bell button. You will get notifications for our videos. Also, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and please share with anyone that you think might benefit from this information. Remember that just as honey is sweet to the taste, wisdom is sweet to the soul. Now get out there and be great.